Security governance is the establishment of policies and continuous monitoring by the members of the governing body of an organization. Security governance includes the mechanisms required to balance the power of its members and their primary duty of enhancing the prosperity and viability of the organization. The National Institute of Standards and Technology's special publication defines information security governance as the process of establishing and maintaining framework supporting management structure and processes to provide assurance that information security strategies align with and support business objectives, and is consistent with applicable laws and regulations through adherence to policies and internal controls, and finally provide assignment of responsibility, all in an effort to manage risk. More generally, the term security governance encompasses governance concerns for cybersecurity, information security, and network security. Information security management is the supervision and making of decisions necessary to achieve business objectives through the protection of the organization's information assets. Management of information security is expressed through the formulation and the use of information security policies, procedures, and guidelines, which are then applied throughout the organization by all associated individuals. Information security implementation and operations represent the implementation, deployment, and ongoing operation of security controls defined within cybersecurity framework. This figure here on the slide suggests the hierarchical relationship among these three concepts. The security governance level communicates the mission priorities, available resources, and overall risk tolerance to the security management level. Security governance is the process of developing a security program that adequately meets the strategic needs of the business. The security management level uses that information as input into risk management process that realize the security program. It then collaborates with the implementation and operations level to communicate security requirements and create a cybersecurity profile. It executes security processes related to current infrastructure on a day-to-day basis. The National Institute of Standards and Technology's special publication 800 lists the following key activities that constitute effective security governance. These activities include strategic planning, organizational structure, establishment of roles and responsibilities, integration with the enterprise architecture, and the documentation of security objectives in policies and guidelines. The International Telecommunication Union provides concept and guidance on principles and processes for information security governance, by which organizations evaluate, direct, and monitors the management of information security. It lays out a key objective of information security governance. This key objective is the alignment of overall business objectives and strategy. It lists 6 principles for achieving this objective. The first principle is to establish organization-wide information security. Management at all levels should ensure that information security is integrated with information technology and other activities. Top-level management should ensure that information security serves overall business objectives and should establish responsibility and accountability throughout the organization. Second, security governance should adopt a risk-based approach, including allocation of resources and budgets. Risk considerations should include the loss of competitive advantage, compliance and liability risks, operational disruptions, reputation harm, and financial loss. Third, security governance entails ensuring that information security is integrated with the existing direction of investment decisions, including capital and operational expenditures for legal and regulatory compliance and risk reporting. Fourth, security governance should ensure conformance with internal and external requirements. External requirements include mandatory legislation, regulation, standards, and contractual requirements. Internal requirements comprise broader organizational goals and objectives. Independent security audits are acceptable means to determine and monitor conformance. Fifth, organizations should foster a security-positive environment for all shareholders. Security governance should be responsive to shareholders' expectations, keeping in mind that various shareholders can have different values and needs. Promoting a positive information security culture can be achieved through requiring and supporting security education, training, and awareness programs. Last but not least, governance executives should mandate reviews of performance measurement programs for the alignment between information security performance and business performance. So adherence to these principles is essential to the success of information security in the long term. How these principles are to be satisfied and who is responsible and accountable depends on the nature of the organization. Also, the IT Governance Institute defines 5 basic outcomes of information security governance that leads to the successful integration of information security and organization's mission. Before introducing more details of International Telecommunication Union's cybersecurity governance guidance, we'll introduce the hierarchical strategic planning. So the highest level of enterprise strategic planning involves defining long-term goals, objectives, and development. The management activity involved in this is used to set priorities, focus energy and resources, strengthen operations to ensure that employees and other stakeholders are working towards common goals. It also includes establishing agreements around intended outcomes, also assessing and adjusting organization's direction in response to a changing environment. Furthermore, it involves the development of a strategic plan and the ongoing oversight of the implementation of the plan. The IT strategic planning is the alignment of IT management and operation with the enterprise strategic planning. 2 strategic factors, mission necessity and enterprise maturity, are related to the need to move beyond IT management. They help assure the IT planning process is integrated with enterprise strategic planning. With many actors exploiting IT to maximize effectiveness, an organization must engage in strategic planning to ensure that investment in IT produces business value. The strategic planning also ensures that risk assessment aligns with enterprise goals and objectives. This is a necessity to support the overall enterprise mission. The organizational structure to deal with cybersecurity depends on the size of the organization, its type, and the organization's degree of dependence on IT. But the security governance functions to be performed are essentially the same across organizations. Based on International Telecommunication Union document, we'll illustrate the basic security governance functions. First, the direct function guides security management from point of view of the enterprise strategies and risk management. This function involves developing an information security policy. The monitor function monitors the performance of security management with measurable indicators. The evaluate function assesses and verifies the results of security performance monitoring in order to ensure that objectives are met and to determine future changes to the information security management system. The communication function reports enterprise security status to shareholders and evaluating shareholders' requirements. Finally, for the access function, the auditors need access to provide a recommendation. This framework includes the governing cycle to direct, monitor, and evaluate the information security management system. The International Telecommunication Union document also provides an example of an information security status report that includes the following detailed content: introduction, overall status, updates, significant issues, decisions required. A key aspect of security governance is defining the role and responsibility of executives related to information security. Typically, there are chief-level executives. First, Chief Executive Officer is responsible for success and failure of the organization, overseeing the entire operation on a high level. Then the Chief Operating Officer is generally a second in command to the CEO that oversees the organization's day-to-day operations on behalf of the CEO, creating the policies and strategies that govern operations. Then we have Chief Information Officer, CIO, who is in charge of the IT strategy and the computer network and third-party systems required to support enterprise objectives and goals. Next, there is Chief Security Officer, CSO, and Chief Information Security Officer, CISO, who is tasked with ensuring data and system security. In some larger enterprises, the two roles are separate, with the Chief Security Officer responsible for physical security and Chief Information Security Officer in charge for digital security. Next, there is Chief Privacy Officer, CPO, who is charged with developing and implementing policies designed to protect employee and customer data from unauthorized access. Finally, there is Chief Risk Officer, CRO, who is charged with assessing and mitigating significant competitive, regulatory, and technological threats to an enterprise capital and earnings. This role does not exist in many organizations except for financial service organizations. In enterprises which CRO does not exist, organizational risk decisions may be the responsibility of a CEO or the board of directors.